How did you switch from not paid experience to Bungie, Blizzard, Riot?
Each studio was looking for something a little different.
Who would be an ideal candidate?
I'd love to make an animation of a character I designed, but also build a small little environment for them.
What if I'm a middle environment artist? Do I have no chances?
Are you sure? We need people across the board.
What do we think? AI, not AI?
Oh man, here it comes. Ooh, epic shot. Part of me wants to believe this is AI.
So your final word?
Humans. To the humans.
Get hired. Hi everyone, my name is Ninel Anderson. I'm CEO of Devoted Studios and I'm your host at Get Hired. Our goal with this show is to get people inspired that getting a job in video games, especially as an artist, is possible. I'll give you practical tips from the best art directors on how to get hired, how to improve your portfolios, and how to become a better artist. And you can do it. So today we have an amazing guest, Artem Volchik. Artem, hi, how are you doing?
Hi, thanks for having me.
I know, Artem, that you are a self-taught artist, which is a very uncommon story in this industry. I would love to kind of get to know more about how did that happen? How did you decide to dip your toes in doing art? And then how did you switch from not paid experience to getting a real commercial job?
I'd been drawing, noodling around different cartoon characters, I would say, just messing around as a kid, drawing. My brother and I played a lot of games and we found out how to mod games. So we ended up breaking them apart and, really going in there and making a mess of it all, trying to figure out what's this code do? What is code? I don't know, and just trying to figure out how to put things together. That led into working online through forums, meeting a bunch of different, developers out there, artists, engineers, animators, people who were just passionate about making different mods within Half-Life and Quake. I ended up working with a couple professional artists. One of them was working down in Terminal Reality, and they were looking for environment artists. And we were just working on a mod together. And it's oh, you have a portfolio, you put something together. And he shared it with his colleagues, and that led to a couple phone calls, doing an art test. I did that and spoke to a bunch of people and got hired as an associate environment artist. But yeah, it was my first job, just to work at Terminal Reality. And the first game I worked on professionally was Spy Hunter: Nowhere to Run. If you look up the rating of that game, it wasn't that great, but there's a lot to learn there. So
life doesn't allow you to rehearse. You just have to live and learn.
And then you obviously went to some of the top biggest companies in the world, like Bungie and Blizzard and Riot. If I'm an artist that, I have an aspiration to work in one of those, what is the difference in interview process? What should stand out about me in order to get hired there?
Each studio I know was looking for something a little different. I mean, everyone wants, obviously, an artist that can hit the benchmark or the required sort of level that they're looking to help, fill on the team, whether it's mid-level, associate level, senior level, project related. So knowing what kind of work, what kind of games they make, what kind of genres, what their art style might be, the different type of artists you can look up and learn, this is the type of artists that work there. These are the types that, are successful there and helping build new projects or build great art there. So kind of understanding if you're interested in a studio, what their strengths are, what they really focus on. And if that's something that appeals to you, the creation process, what kind of techniques they use, do they sculpt a lot of things? Do they, hand paint a lot? Do they use, new technology? Do they have a lot of proprietary tech? And then really just understanding that space.
One moment, madame, I must carry out a little investigation.
That's one experience, bigger studios, years into production. And now at Raid-Base, which is a New York company, I know you guys did a sizable raise a couple of years ago. Actually, tell me a little bit more about your team and the culture. I know that you hire slowly. Why is that? What is the culture you're trying to build? And who would be an ideal candidate for your team?
For us, we do hire slow because we're small. Every person changes the culture of the team. It gets us to be better in certain ways, gives us new perspective. All that stuff is, every person is very impactful. So we take a lot of time to understand, who people are, what they want, are excited about, bring to the table, what we can do with them. Are they excited about us? Do they like the thing we're trying to make? We're really transparent about during the interview process, like how we share what we're working on. We look a lot towards, because we're a small team, so something different than the big studios, as you asked, at people who can do more than just a specialized craft. So we say the word generalist. Other teams use the term T-shaped. You have broad skills, but you have a vector of something you're really specialized in. That's something really important to us. So people who are really, I would say, excited about the generalist sort of attitude, like I'd love to like make an animation of a character I designed, but also kind of, render them out and build a small little environment for them. It doesn't have to be the best at all of those, but just the ability to kind of help bring pieces like that together really help us in our prototyping and early production.
I noticed that on your vacancies on the website, it has generalist, but what if I have a middle environment artist? Do I have no chances at rate base?
We need people across the board. If you're an environment artist who has a passion for learning and growing in another area as well, or you're an environment artist who wants to continue to develop in world design or level design or creative, like those areas that you may not get to experience at other companies, I'd say that's our strength, is like someone coming from a bigger but more strict role. Like I've been an environmentist for 6 years and I'm a mid-level, but like I'm really passionate in my off time. I like to do level design and really understand the space. I don't get to do that at my job, so I can't really say I was doing that professionally. That's something we're super excited about.
It's just going to take a little bit more time.
How does your interview process go? Like, what are the things that you point, the major emphasis? Is it like hard skills and soft skills? Do you have any tricky questions?
The way we approach it, I think what's important for us is, again, being transparent on both sides, like being able to talk about the difficulties along with all the positives of our studio, the ability to even play games with that candidate and like just get to know them on like another level, not just like we just want to see your work and judge your work and see if you fit our bar. Like that's a very one-sided conversation. People in this type of environment bring a lot more than just their craft, and I think that's where spending more time, and during our interview process, we do some meet and greets. We meet, people will talk to this, our CEO and get the game thesis from our game director and talk to a bunch of team members. And we'll, have a lot of these more, let's get to learn about us as people and what, rate base and how we're excited about certain things.
Folks Talks. It's a special section where we actually gather questions from the artists in the community. So Atreya asking, if multiple candidates had the same level of experience needed for the role, what would be the next defining factors? Who would be chosen for the position?
When craft is equal, it really is about approach, team collaboration, like the ability to, even take on probably more in our environment, like how, again, we're not just, hey, you're two environment artists, you do the two environment, you execute on them similarly quality. How do you approach that? Are you going to just get a task and go sit, on your own and try to solve that? Do you want to explore that with other people? Do you want to do a balance that? Like, how do people like to work? We have an environment where we're very collaborative. We like to iterate a lot of things together. There's a certain approach to that I think is really important. So that's one. That's an area I think is important for us.
So Maud Verchata asked the question, I would like to know, is there any limitations on age? For example, applying for a junior 3D artist at the age of 38.
There's no limitation. There should never be a limitation. I mean, artists, creatives, they come in all shapes, sizes, ages. Like it, to me, I think anyone I know, anyone I work with, I've known people who have shifted careers in their late 30s, early 40s, who have become, world-renowned sculptors and, artists. And really it's a passion, and it's an outlet of creativity that I'd be just excited to hear about from anyone. Especially, I think that's an inspiring moment too, to be like, hey, I'm shifting this point in my life. I want to be an artist. I love this craft.
It's never too late to be who you might have been.
One more question from Jade. What was your career progression at Riot? Did you join as an artist? Did you join as an art director? Did you have like levels, and what supported your career growth?
I joined Riot as technically as a principal artist, and the Valorant project was not it wasn't called Valorant, but also I knew there was the R&D project I was going to go to, but it was still kind of, we were going to build it, and there's only a few people who were starting to think and work on it. We also didn't have art directors other than our studio art director at the time. So it was a pretty fascinating time of growth for the company. And honestly, I felt it was very personal, but my studio art director asked me like, oh, I think you'd be a great art director for that project. I sent him back an email. I said, are you sure? Because I felt like, man, there's so many amazing people and there's so much that we all still need to learn. I need to learn. But again, I feel really grateful to having that support and belief in like, hey, you care about this project, you care about the people on it. You should try this.
My favorite part of our show is AI versus human. I mean, we're all threatened that this thing is going to take our jobs. But in the meantime, none of the art directors so far have not identified AI versus what the artists were able to create. We're going to show you 5 different artworks. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And then once we show you the all 5, you would need to make a choice and choose which one is the one that is AI made. This is an image number 1.
But it's an interesting idea, a lot of good color. I like that it's very natural. Feels like there's some interesting depth in the image. Yeah, pretty interesting.
What do we think? AI, not AI?
Oh man, here it comes. I think tentatively on this one, I'd say I think it's not AI.
Guess we'll find out soon enough.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, cool. The environment is very nice. Nice lighting in here. Interesting, more fantastical sort of approach to the bigger shape design, and reminds me of some more stylized RPGs. The character, interesting to stand out. Looks like it has a bit of like a different lighting model on him, or at least like the shading feels a little more contrasted. It does feel like it lacks a bit of the grounding into the scene because of that. The shadow's a little light, but the character has a lot of contrast on them.
AI, not AI?
Not AI.
Not this time.
Ooh, epic shot. Different type of planet. I really like that it's got this really epic scale to it. I mean, a part of me wants to believe this is AI because there's a lot of repetitive shapes going on here. But I'll throw that out there and see what we think later.
Well, you should see the next one.
Yeah, it looks very, very nice little scene. Want to hang out in the grass here on a nice sunny day. Some interesting brushstrokes too on the left there on that tall shrub. I really like the different color view, the hues of color, the different greens going on here, grass and the trees, just a lot of really nice range. A cute little house. I want to say this is not AI.
Let's move on.
Yeah, very nice. Very high render style here. Really like the quality, little diorama vignette sort of feel of this. It's like a really concentrated idea for a pitch of a little world or a landscape. Yeah, it's like desert island, and you gotta you camp out, maybe you build stuff, or maybe it's like a little adventure game or something like that. Or I mean, obviously it's just a piece of art, but to me, it's inspiring a lot of really cool little ideas and really cool little quality going on here. And I think this is someone made this. I think this is it's real.
Is it real?
I don't know, David.
Can you go back to the first one? The distance is looks rendered differently than the foreground, as if it's like a different style. I think this is an artist who made this. If you go through them one more time just slowly. So this one I think is an artist made. The next one, I think this one could be AI. And then the next one, I think an artist could have made this. And then the last one, I think an artist made this too.
So your final word?
There's one that I'm questionable on. That's my guesses.
Which one? Number 3?
Yeah.
And humans win again!
Flawless victory.
Also, I don't want to be wrong because of the pressure you said at the beginning. So I'm going back and forth. I'm okay, I need to focus. So yeah, great. Humans, to the humans. I mean, there's a couple really cool pieces in there. What I like about all the human made pieces is there's an essence of someone's creative expression there, Not to say that the AI one doesn't have a form of expression, but I really loved the quality of number 5, I think consistent, really nice shading and lighting. I think all the pieces work really well together. They've got a nice little stylistic flair to them. The first one has a really cool take on the Sword of the Stone. Again, I really like that. There's a really cool creative expression piece here. So I really like that too. The RPG one has this sense of moving through a space. That's something I could look forward to being excited about that environment. And then the other one was very peaceful. Like you said, I want to be out in the wine country with that. That little house was super cute. Can you pick a favorite? I don't know. This house, little villa out in the grass. I love this one. I think for the reasons I mentioned, it's very peaceful. It's got a great sense of atmosphere in here. It captures that sort of like, I just want to go lay out in the grass here, but it doesn't have to be rendered super high realistically to kind of give me that emotion. Love all the range of hues going on with the grass and the shrubs and the distance, the fog layer going on there. Like there's just so much working in favor in this one. It has a little story, you got a little bicycle there, you got the fence line, you got the haystacks. Like there's a lot of really cool stuff going on here. Even the vines and the moss on the building. There's just a lot to love here.
Well, our winner and the love goes to Vincent Boishu. Vincent, thank you so much for submitting your artwork to our little competition.
Thank you for that beautiful picture.
And we're going into our also very beloved part of the episode, which is portfolio review. Artem, I know one of your team members agreed for you to kind of walk through her portfolio and share what are the key elements, what are the cool stuff that made her that go-to artist that you wanted to have on your team.
So Nessa Silzer, who is one of our senior artists on the team, what I really love about her work and in general, like she has not only a wide variety of work, but she's constantly learning and expanding that skill set. So you can even see from that scene to like she did this whole research and investigation into Egyptian culture and background, and really being inspired by so the depth of that, and taking the time to really research. I think that was like pretty awesome. Not just like a copy off a scene. The range of like her ability to capture a sense of style and rendering through her work is always awesome to see, especially when we're prototyping new games and trying to find that look dev. Having someone like her who can experiment and has like a really great artistic sense, and can do a wide variety of type of work, even though her primary environment art, she can easily handle, like hero props and materials and thinking technically about the way we put the world together. So there's just a lot here that they're really excited about, I think, as a team, to have her join us and contribute to the project. Another thing from working with her too, and I think this is maybe more evident in some of the Valorant work, is just the attention to game design and some stuff we talked about before about like understanding the context of the work, where the art is going to be used, like thinking about level design and game design. Working on a shooter, you have a lot of constraints over walls and edges and sight lines, and thinking about how do you make an environment really feel lush and alive, and something that looks really good but still meet all those constraints. She's really great at doing that and working together with everyone else to achieve that in the world. So that's also just all really awesome reasons to want to work with her.
And I think we could do another more. And since Vincent is the one who was the winner of today's AI versus human, would love for you to take a pick in his portfolio, and any feedback that you could share as an art director that could inspire and help him grow his career.
Oh, I see. He has this piece that we love at the very top. Great choice. I love it.
Excellent choice.
I really love the density of the world in these, like the props and like the placement, and feeling like a complete sense of space. Like there's a lot that's playing into this. I see, and so I was thinking about when I first saw that piece, the background rendering, shading of some of these trees, specifically like the leaves in the background, capture a bit of that more anime style, and it looks really good in the distance when it's like you have that fog layer kind of working to your advantage to help blend that in. When it's a bit more, closer in the foreground mixed with other elements, it stands out more often. It's one of those things to be mindful of, is how those layers and shading models blend together. So, especially when you get like the shadows on this, the leaves here in that shading model versus like you have the tree with a harsher black contrasted shadow, it stands out. And I think there's like some inconsistency there that and it seems like you have a pretty good handle on how to use it in most places. Those are things that make the scene sort of separate and stand out more often. Be mindful of that. I think you could take a look at that and kind of see how you could blend some of those elements together. So much going well in these too. The fact that they're in engine and that you're taking an approach where you're understanding how all these pieces kind of can play together and get them in engine and Lida and all that stuff is super cool. I think that's like building the world. I think you have such a great strength there in all these scenes, is it feels like a place, and that's really hard to pull off. And the fact that you have that on all these pretty consistently is something really awesome. Looks like also, I mean, this seems to have a great range here too of type of work, stylization of work, really pushing proportions and personality and attitude out of something like this, which is super fun. I love to see this, just having fun with this, even in this more realistic, element. Like you've got a great sense of space and, clutter and density, and it feels like a place. Nice lighting going on. Yeah, great work on across the board on that. Yeah, this has a real consistency to it. I know it's different rendering, a little more gritty and realistic, but there's a consistency there I think is important that you've reached there. Yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of great work here.
Well, thank you so much for providing your insight. I hope this would be very helpful, not only for Vincent, but everybody who is looking to level up their portfolios and make them awesome and get the job of their dreams. Very grateful, Artem, for coming and sharing your wisdom. And I can't wait to see what Raid-Bay's going to come up with. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, hopefully everyone can enjoy listening to this.
Yay!